Welcome to your Global Affairs Alert. Today we cover U.S. military Pacific operations, cultural headlines, and major domestic policy shifts affecting millions. From naval drug interdictions to pop culture debates and ICE recruitment surges, this is your non-stop global news breakdown. Our coverage spans from the remote corridors of the Eastern Pacific to the halls of political power and the front lines of domestic enforcement. Stay with us as we break down the complex forces shaping both the national and global landscapes in this special report. U.S. Southern Command recently struck a suspected narco-trafficking vessel in the Eastern Pacific. 2 suspects were killed and 1 survivor was rescued. The vessel, identified as a low-profile craft, was designed specifically to evade radar detection while transporting illicit cargo through international waters. The operation took place in a strategic corridor known for high-volume trafficking, requiring precise coordination between air and sea assets. Intelligence assets tracked the target for several days, utilizing advanced surveillance technology to confirm the illicit nature of the cargo before engagement. Officials confirmed that the vessel was operating without lights or AIS signals, a common tactic used by cartels to disappear in the vast Pacific. Upon inspection, teams discovered a significant quantity of cocaine, estimated to be worth tens of millions of dollars on the black market. This seizure represents one of the largest in the region this year, highlighting the scale of the ongoing maritime smuggling challenge. The kinetic phase of the mission began after the suspects ignored multiple warnings to halt, leading to a brief but intense engagement at sea. While 2 suspects lost their lives in the confrontation, boarding teams successfully rescued a 3rd individual who is currently in federal custody. The survivor is being processed and is expected to provide valuable intelligence regarding the cartel's current maritime logistics and command structure. Federal investigators are working to trace the origin of the vessel and the network responsible for its deployment from South American shores. This operation is part of a broader, multi-agency counter-narcotics strategy aimed at disrupting the flow of narcotics into North America. The collaboration between the Coast Guard, Navy, and international partners remains the cornerstone of regional maritime security. Beyond the interdictions, officials emphasize the importance of addressing the root causes of trafficking and supporting regional stability. Ensuring that maritime trade routes remain open and safe is vital for the global economy, as millions of tons of legal goods pass through these waters daily. As the investigation continues, U.S. forces will maintain a persistent presence in the Eastern Pacific to deter future smuggling attempts. The integration of unmanned systems and AI-driven intelligence is expected to further enhance the effectiveness of these patrol missions in the coming years. To recap the top story, a major blow to cartel logistics in the Pacific with a high-stakes mission and a multi-million-dollar seizure. Moving from the high seas to the digital arena, where a single post has reignited a fierce national debate over culture and politics. The intersection of celebrity influence and political rhetoric has never been more visible than in the current viral exchange on Truth Social. President Trump criticized Bad Bunny's Super Bowl halftime performance, calling the high-energy show inappropriate for the nation's youth. The critique resonates with a segment of the electorate that feels cultural standards are shifting too rapidly in the modern entertainment era. Bad Bunny's performance, seen by millions globally, was a landmark moment for Latin music and urban culture on the world's biggest stage. Supporters of the artist point to the performance as a celebration of heritage and a reflection of the diverse fabric of contemporary America. This clash highlights a growing generational divide, as younger audiences increasingly look to artists like Bad Bunny for cultural representation. Meanwhile, older demographics often prioritize traditional values and feel alienated by the provocative nature of modern pop performances. Bad Bunny's influence is backed by unprecedented data, having been the most streamed artist on platforms like Spotify for multiple consecutive years. His global tour revenue and merchandise sales further solidify his position as a primary driver of modern consumer culture. The social media response was instantaneous, with millions of tweets, posts, and videos dissecting every aspect of the president's critique. Traditional news outlets quickly picked up the story, further amplifying the debate and pushing it into the center of the week's political cycle. Analysts suggest that these cultural critiques are a deliberate political strategy to energize the base and frame the upcoming election as a battle for the nation's soul. As pop culture becomes increasingly politicized, the line between entertainment and governance continues to blur in the digital age. Whether seen as a necessary defense of standards or an out-of-touch critique, the impact of this viral moment remains a key talking point nationwide. Finally, we turn to a significant domestic policy shift as ICE initiates its largest manpower expansion in recent history. The agency is aggressively recruiting thousands of new agents to bolster enforcement and processing capabilities across the country. Officials state that this 20,000 agent surge is critical to addressing the logistical challenges posed by recent border activity and interior enforcement needs. The billions in newly allocated funding will cover not just salaries, but also the advanced training and technology required for modern enforcement. New recruits will undergo an intensive training curriculum focusing on immigration law, tactical operations, and crisis de-escalation. The physical and mental rigors of the academy are designed to ensure that the next generation of agents is prepared for the complexities of the field. A significant portion of the new manpower will be deployed directly to high-activity zones along the southern border to enhance security. However, the expansion also includes a focus on interior operations, with new agents assigned to field offices in major metropolitan areas nationwide. The expansion has met with sharp criticism from civil liberties groups, who argue that increased enforcement could lead to due process concerns. Critics are calling for increased oversight and transparency to ensure that the expansion respects the rights of all individuals involved in the process. Proponents of the surge maintain that a well-staffed agency is the only way to effectively manage the nation's immigration system and ensure public safety. As the first wave of recruits enters the field, the nation watches closely to see how this expansion will impact the broader immigration landscape. From high-stakes naval strikes in the Pacific to cultural clashes and domestic policy surges, these stories illustrate the interconnected nature of today's news. Military action, cultural discourse, and enforcement priorities together shape the national and global landscape in profound and lasting ways. Thank you for joining our non-stop global news breakdown. Stay informed, and we will see you in our next alert. Good night.